see my sign.
And the only thing I can't do is stream to YouTube because I don't have access to your account. So I'll start to live to Facebook on the LACDP site. Give me one moment.
Oh, that would be interesting. If we were to do it live to YouTube, then I wouldn't have to waste all that time uploading it to YouTube, right? It would just become.
Yes, but okay, so I could transfer hosting back to you. So okay, now that I see the damn screen, what you're going to do is you're going to scroll to the. Are you on a Mac or a PC?
Mac.
Okay, so good. This should be the same thing. You're going to scroll to the right side. You're going to look for 3 little dots that says, and just under that it says more. There's going to be a live on Facebook, live on.
Right. Yeah, I saw that before. Yeah.
Okay, that's where you want to click on that for Facebook. Also click on that for YouTube. You just need access to both accounts, which on your own computer you should have. So let's try this again. I'll go ahead and make you host.
Thank you for your patience, everybody, with our technical difficulties, but also this is an opportunity for folks to just trickle in as we do.
Okay, you're
as Democrats, tending to be late sometimes. Okay, all right. So we can. Did you already start it on Facebook or no?
No, I didn't.
We're not recording yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so I could do.
I'm recording, but I could stop if you want.
Okay, Chris Robeson is joining us now. Let's see. I'll click live on Facebook. Let's see.
And it should give you a choice of a page to stream to.
Oh boy. Okay. Yikes. These are not. Safari. He wants to go into Safari, and I don't have the right Facebook thing on this. I have it through Chrome. Yikes.
You want to switch back, and I'll just
yeah. Can you start it on? See, I'm not good at this. Can you back and start it? You can transfer it back on YouTube, or I can transfer it back on YouTube. I'm gonna make you the host again.
Okay, but I can't do YouTube because I don't have.
No, I can do it though. I think.
Okay. Give it a shot.
Okay. So you're gonna start it on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we are on now, right? I see the record button recording.
Yep, it's preparing live stream. We're preparing live stream preview. Yeah, I'm just going to go live without a description. Actually, I think I can add in a title later.
Well, yeah, you can, I don't know, Friday Night Forum, August 28th.
Gotcha.
2020. Welcome, everybody. We're just working out some technical difficulties or kinks, whatever you want to call it, and letting people slowly trickle in. It's 7:15 now, and we will get started here momentarily. We'd like to. We're slated to go until 9 o'clock tonight, and we got a lot of ground to cover. A lot of interesting stuff. Hopefully more people will come, but I'm very glad that at least looks like 14 of you are here right now, and we'll get to work. Okay, so meeting is now streaming live on Facebook. Welcome, Facebook listeners. Now we're going to see if we can live stream it onto YouTube. Let's see. So do you need to make me co-host or host, Dennis?
Good question. Let's see what happens. I think I'd have to make you host. Oh, let's try co-host first.
Okay. Let's see.
Let's see if you get the streaming option.
I am now the co-host, but I do not see the more button for streaming.
That's sad. Okay.
Unfortunately.
So, all right. Let's. see what happens when I make you host. I wonder if that's, can't imagine that would break the Facebook feed, but let's give it a shot anyway. So what's more important? What's more important?
No. Let's see.
So do you want me to make the change?
Make it host, because if we break the Facebook feed right now, that's okay. We can restart it in a moment.
I am going to make you host.
Okay, the recording button is still showing.
Yeah, and I'm still.
So that is good. Okay.
All right, so that worked. That's.
This is interesting. Dennis. It says stop live stream. It doesn't give me the option to go to YouTube. So I guess you have to choose one, Facebook or YouTube. At least according to my screen, it just gives me the option when I click more to stop the live stream, and that's it. So
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
So that's fine. It just takes an awful long time for it to load onto YouTube, but that's okay. I can do that. All right. So let me make you co-host, Dennis, because
just in case
I feel awkward being the only person running this darn thing. Okay. So we are at 7:17. Welcome everybody. We'll keep admitting folks as they stream in, and like a good old Dodgers game when people go to the stadium, you can come and leave as you wish. Come late, leave early, whatever you want to do. We'll try to keep your attention wrapped, though, right through 9 o'clock. Once again, this is Friday Night Forum, unofficial LACDP Friday Night Forum. And this is the latest in the series. I think this is like our 7th or 8th one. I'd have to go back and count. We're posting the videos on YouTube, on LACDP members, unofficial. That's the YouTube page. And also streaming it live here on Facebook on our unofficial LACDP members 2020-2024 account. And hopefully you're all members of the group. If you haven't joined already, we have a good discussion there. And here in the age of COVID, that's pretty much all we got, Zoom and Facebook and things like that. It's pretty unfortunate. Once again, I'm your humble host, Cole Padilla, from AD 49, and I was elected March 3rd as one of the 7 on the ballot. I see one of my mates here from AD 49, Melissa Michelson, is in the room, and others of you are from nearby or not so nearby ADs. Thank you for coming. Yeah, we got a lot to get into tonight. We've had, a slight change to our agenda tonight because of the increasing number of endorsement recommendation committee meetings that have been already taking place and that will be taking place ahead of the September 8th general meeting. I did have already that as a topic of discussion for tonight because it's a big thing, and so I'm folding that into our preview, as I called it, of the September 8th meeting. That's the general meeting coming up, second Tuesday of every month, right? Okay, so let's actually, I think, begin there with the endorsement recommendation committee meetings. I'd actually like to get some reports back from those of you who have been in them already, and let us know. I have my concerns that I'd like to share. I've already shared them with my AD Vice Chair, but I'd like to hear your concerns or your successes, and let's learn from each other. Especially, I see some longer term members of LACDP here. I was an associate member for a year before being elected. I was the club rep for Feel the Burn Democratic Club of Los Angeles County, the biggest Bernie-crat club in LA County. San Fernando Valley, though, we love them too. They formed their own. They were a subchapter of ours, and now they have their own chapter. So anyway, but this is my first time being elected. I did sit in an endorsement recommendation committee meeting as a candidate for San Gabriel City Council back before the March election, but I've never actually sat on the other end of the table. So anyway, let's open it up to the floor. And those of you who have gone through an endorsement recommendation committee meeting this cycle, if you can share how it went, for you and with the candidates, take it away. Floor is open. You can raise your hand, can unmute yourself. You can shout out. That's another thing. This is not, as I say, an official LACDP meeting, no formal meeting. It is unofficial and informal, as it were. And I will not force mute you like our executive director or our chair in the regular meetings. Everybody can unmute themselves in keeping with Robert's Rules of Order and the simultaneous oral communication that it demands for virtual meetings. So, all right. So you can unmute yourself, raise your hand, whatever you'd like to do. Raising hands is kind of nice because it kind of goes in order. I can see it on the side of the screen here and call on folks. But if you raise your hand in the box or just unmute yourself, that might work just fine too. So I don't know who'd like to go first, who's actually gone through an endorsement recommendation committee meeting this cycle. I've heard some semi-horror stories, but who might like to go first? Has anybody gone through one yet? Who's present in the room?
Paul? Hi.
Yeah, Michelle. Okay.
Hi.
Yeah, so you went through one already.
We did. We endorsed a couple people from Calabasas City Council.
Okay.
The only people that were there on here, me and my brother.
Okay.
My sister-in-law voted for Rebecca, who's on. It was great, actually, to tell you the truth. We were able to ask the questions that we wanted without any issues, and the questions were really good. We all took turns asking the questions, and we ended up supporting both candidates.
Okay, so that was a pretty small one then, just Calabasas City Council. I'm hearing of some marathon sessions. I've heard of them before. I'm not a huge fan of an all-day session. But yeah, anybody else want to chime in? And before I get to my kind of concerns, is Linda raising her hand there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. LACDP with Angel had a endorsement meeting, and we endorsed several people there. Lindsay Francois for treasurer at the Burbank, what is it?
City
School
Council
board?
or school board? Okay.
The school board. Yeah, she's running for treasurer. She's really good. She's really good. I like her a lot. So we endorse her. My notes here for her were very impressive, according to my opinion. Okay, then
did the meeting go well? I mean, not to cut you off, but I'm just wondering mostly about the structure of the meetings, how it went, how you felt it went, if you think there should be changes.
I thought you wanted to
not
know
specifically who got endorsed or things like that, but
okay.
This is the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The meeting went really well. I enjoyed it. It was I don't even know how long it took, but it was a good experience.
Okay.
And we made very good candidates. Yes.
Okay. That's
one of them was Nichelle.
Oh, really? Nichelle Henderson. Okay.
Nichelle. Yeah.
So now that's interesting. Now, Nichelle Henderson, she is not in your area, though, right? I mean, I'm wondering.
Yeah, I'm 43, but we were mostly Burbank people. Yeah.
Nichelle Henderson is running for LA Community College District.
Yes.
Now that race, falls under the jurisdiction of the LACDP Candidate Interview Committee, right? The county-wide committee.
Probably. I don't know.
So I'm just wondering, how did Nichelle Henderson end up in your meeting?
Hold on.
Okay.
You know what? Maybe I'm confusing the meeting where I met her. So never mind.
Okay.
I'm new at this. So
No. Some of us are new at this, or relatively new at this. They're still learning. Okay, and I see 2 hands up here: Chris Robeson, Brandy Grace. Chris, take it away. Oh wait, you're on mute, Chris.
You hear me now?
Now I can. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't attend the meeting. I'm an alternate, neither did my delegate. But we had a conversation before we developed a strategy, and we decided that the people who were running, one unopposed and the other 2, one pretty well-known person and the other not, there was going to be pretty much a unanimous vote, and it was. There were 11 establishment types at the meeting. The candidates each won by 11 votes. I can't report on the process. Our meetings run pretty smoothly here. Uduak Antuk is really the secretary, but he's really used to the process. So they're smoothly run. It's just, there's not much of a way to have any impact. These are school board positions. So anyway, that's my.
Okay. Yeah, no, thanks, Chris. Brandy, you're next on Larry King Live here.
So first, just a quick question. I want to make sure I'm not mishearing. Are we talking about any of the endorsement committees, just the individual AD ones, or the county committee ones, or what?
Well, yeah, no, I wanted to get some feedback on the local AD ones, or these joint AD ones that are being held right now. Now, I do not know when the county candidate interview committee is going to meet. I assume it's going to be meeting, if it hasn't already, before September 8th, because they want to probably have all those candidates ready for the consent calendar at the September 8th general meeting to be put forward. I don't know if anybody can shed any light on whether or not the countywide LACDP candidate interview committee is met, for instance, for races like LA Community College District.
I know that I don't know the exact answer for that, but I will say this is not specific to this cycle, but in multiple cycles, I've worked with candidates and had friends who've talked about issues where both for the county committee endorsement committee and the various AD committees, that there are occasional, if not persistent, problems with quorum not being sufficiently met. And what I've seen happen is like for example, with the county committee one, I know in one race in particular, of the, I think, 20 members that were supposed to be there, 6 showed up for a fairly major seat endorsement. And because 2 of the members who were sitting on the committee who actually showed up happened to be friends with one of the candidates, they recommended that candidate. And there were so many candidates in this race that the other 4 people were split. So the official recommendation came down from literally 2 people recommending their friend. Nice. And the at large didn't end up endorsing anybody, but that's a problem when recommendations are based on a couple of friendships as opposed to a wider stance. So
yeah. In the email that I got from the AD, there's a couple of separate emails from the AD 49 chair and AD 49 vice chair. They did make reference to quorum and RSVPing so that they know that they have quorum. So all the more reason, for you or your alternate to show up so that quorum can be met and the meeting can proceed.
Yeah, and when it's not met, what I see frequently happen is that right before the meeting, they'll try to get as many people to show up as possible and basically rubber stamp whatever the handful of people that did show up came up with, which is, I know what happened in that one case. So yeah, we got to get, if people are going to do these, they got to actually do these committees. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, we were elected for a reason, and we got to fulfill our duties. Okay. Anybody else? I see Melissa with a raised hand. Yeah, Melissa, take it away.
Yeah, thank you. I was just wondering, what a possible solution can be for lack of participation amongst people who've been elected to attend these. I'm wondering if it has to do with the fact that, I don't know, I mean, everybody's busy and so on, but especially now with Zoom, there should be it's way easier to participate for a few hours here and there. Especially since we're so new. So I don't know if that happened recently or not, but in any case, I was thinking that maybe part of the reason people don't participate in it is they have no idea of who these candidates are, or maybe they do. I mean, maybe I'm out of the loop. But if it's a region-wide thing, like if it's just your area, of course, you most likely know your candidates or the candidates that are there. But if it's a region-wide one, I got a meeting notice to come to one, and there's a lot of candidates that I have never heard of. So maybe people are more prone to say, well, I'm not going to participate. And perhaps what would be best would be not to have, I don't know about your guys's, but ours this weekend is going to be, I don't know, Paul, maybe you're going to talk about it later, but it's super truncated, super short. There's really no way to get to know the candidates. We've never gotten any kind of documentation from the candidates. I am starting to I'm still getting contacted, even though I opted out of being contacted. But I don't think it's from those candidates. So it's really just, to me, it's all brand new, and there's not enough information coming to us, the potential voters, about who these candidates are, not even a website link. So, and then for us to have to vote after listening to them for 3 minutes, Paul? I don't know. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's one of the issues I was going to raise. I might as well raise it now. I don't see another hand up. Is that it seemed initially there was an email that came out from our AD chair that said it's 10 minutes per candidate for a joint AD meeting tomorrow morning, with 15 minutes for mayoral candidates. But then we got an email from the vice chair saying it's just 10 minutes for everybody. And they wanted to structure it where it's 1 minute opening, 1 minute closing, and 2 minutes for each for 4 questions. I think that's too few questions and perhaps a minute too long on the responses. My feeling is that we were each independently elected as elected LACDP members or ex officio LACDP members. And therefore, we should have a right to ask an independent question, each of us. And that would allow more time for more questions at just a minute each. And I think 15 minutes per candidate or so, even 20 in a joint AD meeting, if enough people want to ask questions. Nobody's required to ask a question, but I think it should be more round robin style, and you ask the question you want to ask. And I think you or your alternate in your absence has a right to ask a question. I don't know if the AD chair and vice chair in our AD 49 want to take the power to select the questions themselves. I don't think that's really a great policy, because, as I say, we're each independently elected. We should each be able to ask an independent question. And I think we should give the candidates, more than just a strict 10-minute rule. Now, granted, I don't believe in marathon all-day sessions. I think that's pretty trying on people. I think splitting it up over a couple of evenings or something, or days, would be better. So I see a hand up. Is that Melissa, a new hand or old hand, or? Melissa Michelson, new hand, old hand?
Hey, Paul, let me break in real quick.
That's an old hand.
Okay, yeah, Dennis.
You may want to switch the presentation to speaker view, so that those speaking are front and center.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. And iPhone 5, I believe that's Margaret Finstrom, is it?
Yeah.
Howdy, Margaret. did you want to say something, or should we put you on mute?
They wouldn't, like, our person, what's his name, Bob Forche.
Oh yeah, Bob's here. Bob, are you there? I think I saw Bob in the meeting. Are you there, Bob Forche?
I am here.
We were.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we didn't get to like pick our days. Like, you know, if we have to, we're not around. We weren't warned of when the meetings were going to take place.
Okay. Yeah. So Bob, did you already lead, I guess, one of these meetings?
I had 3 days of meetings. There were eight races. There's probably about 20 candidates, and I finished them all.
Okay. So everything's done in, what is it, 8036 are you in?
80, yes.
Okay, 8036. Okay, well, congratulations for finishing everything. And how much time did you and your delegation give to each candidate? How many questions?
Well, let me give you the process. Usually we schedule I scheduled 3 days. I allowed 20 of my members to pick any of the days.
We never got to pick. Isaac and I didn't get any kind of email on picking on the days of when we're able.
I have the option of picking the days for the candidates. I contact the candidates to give them the option of time, and if all my candidates will work on that day, then I go to the members. To do what Isaac wanted to do was to throw out to the 20 delegates, pick a time and day, and then I'd have to coordinate all those 20 to come up with a date that they would all be able to be a part of the process. I find after 20 years of doing this that doesn't work, because the next phase of that was to go to the candidates and have them pick a date that they could all be available. Too much trouble. It was easier for me to pick a day, pick time frame, and out of the 20, I will always find the number of candidates or delegates that can be at that time. The other way is too much trouble. It doesn't always work, and I found my process or this process worked better. Once I got the candidates and delegates coordinated for times, I would start scheduling. Each candidate had 15 minutes, 2 minutes opening, 2 minutes closing. I had 5 questions, and I wouldn't always get five of the delegates to ask a question. 5 questions, 2 minutes each, and we'd release them. And once that race was finished in the process, we would take a vote.
Okay, and so yeah, you were saying, Bob, that you didn't always get enough questions even to fill the 5?
Correct.
Okay.
And my number was 8 or 9 at each race.
I do also, not this one, but you know, I liked how you gave us the candidate questionnaires. But 38, when we did the 2 reasons together, they wouldn't give us the questionnaire until like right when they were gonna interview the candidates. So it made it really hard to know what questions to ask the candidate or to even know anything about them until they spoke.
Okay,
which was really weird.
38 was not my race. It was 38th race.
Yeah, no, you did. You gave us the questionnaires, not you. The Stacy Fortner would not give us the questionnaires, which was a little weird to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, usually in the past when we would actually have physical meetings, the questionnaires would be brought by the candidate at that time, and they usually would bring 10 copies.
Yeah, I liked how you emailed us the questionnaires, but she wouldn't email it. I sent her an email asking for the questionnaire, and then she told everybody that they wouldn't let you see the questionnaire, and then she would let us see it like a minute before. She would like share it on her screen or put it on Google Links, and some people didn't even have that ability to get into the Google Links. So I thought that was not appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just gonna add, yeah, I finally got we finally got an 8049 candidate questionnaires tonight, for the meeting tomorrow. So, yeah. So Bob, did you then, when you got more than 5 questions, I guess, are you saying that you or the vice chair or the group decided which 5, or how did that go?
We would try to see who the first 5 that showed up on or raised their hand. We've got.
Oh, so you're saying, okay, because of the Zoom nature, right? So you did just kind of put it open to the floor.
Right.
Okay. And
I would allow them to have their own questions. I would not censor,
right,
unless it was something that was inappropriate.
Okay.
And I didn't have that problem.
So then interesting. So did these questions come, I guess, per race or per candidate? Could different candidates receive a different question, or did all candidates in a given race have to get the same one?
I would ask the members to have the same. If there was 2 or 3 individuals or candidates running, I would ask the members to have the same question for each one.
Okay.
For each candidate.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else like to chime in here about endorsement recommendation committee meetings? The all-important endorsement recommendations. Once again, for those of you just joining us, just a reminder, September 8th is the big endorsement meeting. So these endorsement recommendations will be taken from us and put onto the floor. Brandy Grace has a hand up.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on both sides, from endorsing candidates, interviewing candidates, and being a candidate. And there's a few things I've noticed. I think it's good when you let everybody figure out the questions that they want to ask. You might have someone in the room who's very environmentally focused, someone else who's very public education focused, someone who's disability focused, and they can all bring a good perspective that someone else might not have thought of. But that if you just let them off the cuff ask them, it does become unfair that they'll pepper one candidate with a lot of very good questions and another one they just don't, and they don't get a chance to answer. So I think it's good to let everybody figure out a question ahead of time and then have the group agree on it. It also prevents what I've seen, which is oftentimes people interviewing candidates will repeat a question that's already on the questionnaire. I mean, seriously, I've spent hours and hours and hours filling out. Sometimes some of these questionnaires are 5, 6, 18 pages in some cases. And then you find out 0 people, like all the questions they ask in the room are exactly the things you just spent hours writing. And so by having everybody agree ahead of time, these are the questions that each of you submitted that we want to ask. You can filter out for repetition. You can filter out for people who aren't asking questions but just want to rant at candidates. You can filter out for bias, which has become an issue. And you can also, I've had some inappropriate questions, and I've had some, shall we say, dated questions that don't really apply or don't apply for the office that I'm running for. And it's good to have that thought up front. And it's also really good that if you do spend a lot of time asking one candidate serious questions, that another candidate gets the chance to answer them. But it's also hard where I've had questions where they're like, you have 60 seconds, solve homelessness. Mm-hmm. It's like, sure, I can give you my, 50-page document on all the things I would do for homelessness, but I can't sum that up in 60 seconds in any detail that is worthwhile or worth anything. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think we need to really fundamentally rethink how we approach it, because we're all looking for different things. Some of us are looking for, is this person well versed on multiple topics? Some people want to know if they only know about this one topic they care about. Some want to know how they respond if they don't know an answer. Or another issue that I've seen personally is candidates that literally say whatever you want to hear from them in the room and then say exactly the opposite in another room. And I think it's important that we find a way to hold people accountable. I'm not gonna call out anybody right here because they're not here. But there's one candidate I'm still very angry at for repeatedly saying that they were in favor of closing down Liso Canyon. And then the minute they were in front of a camera where there was a room that they thought was conservative, they're like, no, that's a danger to gas prices. And I mean, or they told us, yeah, I'm in favor of Medicare for all. And then immediately was like, no, that's socialism. I would never support that. So we need to be able to hold these liars accountable and retract endorsements when we endorse based on lies. So those are just kind of my rambling thoughts about my experiences from both sides.
Well, yeah, holding politicians accountable. I mean, that's what we got to do. And I think one way to do that, obviously, is the written questionnaire. But yeah, I think they can be too long and all. But to get them in writing, and then the other thing is to record these. Now, I know that maybe Bob can speak more to this, but the candidate interview sessions are closed door for the members of LACDP. I do not believe they're ever recorded. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bob.
Paul, when you get a chance, can you look at the raised hands too? Because I want to
I'm sorry.
piggyback off
I
of
wasn't looking at that lately. Yeah, I now see you. But can you speak to that at all, Bob? If candidate interview committees have ever been, I know that they say because it can involve campaign strategy that's why that portion of the meeting is not open to the public, but the voting, I guess, is, and the results, right? But I guess the actual interview itself is supposed to be closed door, right?
Well, we had our pre-endorsement committee meetings are open to the public.
Okay, so you let people come in from the public if they so choose to the actual interview itself?
I bring them in with permission.
Okay.
And usually I will vet them to make sure that they're Democrats, because otherwise I don't want.
You don't want a spy in there, right? Yeah. Okay.
And in fact, I did have few observers come in. They can come in, they can observe. I don't allow them to talk.
Okay. But yeah, I suspect from what I have read in the bylaws, I think it's in the bylaws, that I suspect that they wouldn't want a recording of the candidate interview from LACDP. But certainly, Brandy, I think that, yeah, in general, certainly in public forums, these people need to be put on camera. It needs to be recorded.
We're encouraging our club to record any of the candidates over Zoom now for that reason.
Yeah, because they have to be held accountable, darn it. Even if they're Democrats, especially if they're Democrats. We are the Democratic leaders, supposedly, of this here county, so we should be holding our Democratic candidates accountable. All right, 3 hands up. Melissa Michelson, Linda Bassett, Chris Robeson, in that order.
Okay, thanks. So to piggyback on what Brandy was saying, it just brought up, she made, of course, really good points, and it brought up questions in my mind in terms of how moving forward, what are we going to do? It's great, we're identifying these things, and thank you, Paul, as usual, for hosting something like this so we can have this forum, because there is no other forum for us to have these kinds of conversations with each other and with the people that have voted for us, for the public. So, but the questions it brought up was, how do we fix this? What is the process? It doesn't seem that the LACDP is open. And when I say the LACDP, I guess it's the current leadership. I'm not sure though. What I've seen so far in various meetings that we've had, they're not super open to changing process. And I think you guys brought up a lot of good ideas, and I'd like to see those kinds of changes implemented. And again, back to what I was saying, all of this is going to dissuade people from participating if it's not clean and people aren't able to join in and participate in creating questions. This is super important. And the last thing I'll say is, or creating and or getting the questions ahead of time, like Margaret was saying. So the last thing is that as a president of Feel the Burn Democratic Club, we have a way to unendorse what we do. We have, and Paul, of course, you probably can explain it well too, because you were on this committee. You can explain it better than me, because you were in the inner circle of the design of this. But this is a corporate free pledge. It is on our website, Feel the Burn Democratic Club Los Angeles, and we have our candidates fill something like that out, so we know we're on the same page with them, or vice versa. And so also on top of that, we are able to unendorse the candidates if they no longer seem to follow our mission statement. So that might be something that maybe I don't know, Brandy, if you want to look at our version, I'm happy to send it to you. And then,
Thank you.
yeah, we should all be thinking about proposals that we can bring to our party, because this is our party, and I think they'd probably either not like it or appreciate it, depending, So yeah, let me know, and I'm happy to share that.
Well, yeah, I mean, to what Melissa was talking about, I should have noted at the top, I should probably say it at the top whenever I start these meetings. So yeah, I'm a board member of the Feel the Burn Democratic Club of Los Angeles. I'm also a member of 4 other Democratic clubs. I see our president, I believe, is still here, Jeff Schwartz of the Monterey Park Democratic Club. I'm a member of the Alhambra Democratic Club, United Dem Sangre Valley, and Democrats of Pasadena Foothills. And in the Feel the Burn Democratic Club, yes, we not only have a corporate free pledge that I co-drafted on a corporate free pledge committee, but we also have an unendorsement provision in our bylaws. I'm the parliamentarian of Feel the Burn Dem Club LA, and yeah, we can unendorse people if they, as Brandy says, start lying to us, or yeah, other things. And that spoiler is my question that I submitted. You're free to steal it from me if you so choose. It's based on the Feel the Burn corporate free pledge. My question that I submitted, that I said, if we're going to have to, they said just one question, per person. And I submitted the following question. Are you taking campaign contributions from any of the following? Number 1, for-profit business entities. 2, business-affiliated, business-driven, or business-dominated political action committees. 3, professional real estate developers, companies or individuals or their agents. 4, government contractors or their agents who obtained, possess, or are seeking contracts subject to your approval or would be approval if you're elected. Or 5, police unions, and why or why not. Just again, we are the LA County Democratic Party, and a lot of, I've noticed a lot of Democratic leaders in this county party are hyper-focused and not, completely without reason on the presidential race. But as a county party, our focus is supposed to be on local races, county, city, school board, water board, all these local races to elect good Democrats instead of, quite frankly, corrupt Democrats and Republicans. And so, these money questions, just to give you all a little background, Melissa Michelson and I helped lead a fight to try to save 268 trees in Alhambra, in a historic chapel. And during that fight in the summer of 2017, we were going up against bought-off city council members who had been bought off by the real estate developers. Over the course of 2 weeks in that August, 3 years ago, I saw 2 separate interviews of James Carville and Al Gore. And both of them, when asked what they think the most important issue in politics is, said money in politics, because they said it affects all other issues.
Everything else.
Yeah. And so, what we see, not just nationally, but locally, right, are Republicans running so many of our cities, occupying so many posts, going in league with corporatist, bought-off Democrats, sellout Democrats, to do the bidding of their campaign patrons, often real estate developers and government contractors, and the local business powers that be. And then, of course, police unions too. We thankfully are in a moment and hopefully a movement long term for police accountability and racial justice. And police unions, of course, have bought off both Democrats and Republicans at the local level, and I think it needs to stop. So my hope is that if you're asking some questions this weekend or in the week ahead, that you will ask money questions. What I'll do is I'll just copy and paste right now my question to you in the chat, and feel free to steal it. Let's go back to the chat here. Okay, I'm going to stick this there, and let's see, copy, paste. Okay. Okay, there's my question. Feel free to steal it in your local endorsement recommendation committee hearings. Linda Bassett, next to the hand up.
Okay. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've long said that, and I think about it a lot, about our democracy and how little it seems what we have. And as Bernie supporters, we know that. We saw that twice now. But down here at our grassroots level, the tools of democracy are there. You know, it's well laid out. It's whoever thought of it did a good job. I mean, right at the bottom, you should be able to get to elect people like ourselves who have no real ambition, or maybe we do, some of us may, but it's a way to get started, a way to get traction, a way to get to meet people and get involved in the Democratic Party, and then evaluate and endorse candidates. But, you know, other than us having found this opening because of being involved with Bernie, would still not know about it. So I see that as a problem, one. Another problem is that because they've hidden it and kept it so close to the chest, is that the people that are involved are the people who are involved who are already elected. So they're staffers. And I'm pretty sure that, and I wrote a letter to Mark Gonzalez this afternoon, and I put it in a chat group, that I am not going to participate because I took an oath of office to uphold the Constitution and our democracy. And what I see going on here is undemocratic. And I didn't say this, but I'll say this to you all. I think it's treasonous, because in our AD, we have 3 people who are employed or were employed or have taken money from Anthony Rendon. So how are they fairly going to evaluate any of the candidates that come before them? They have more than likely already picked who they want to be. I'm a minority on this panel to begin with. My voice means nothing, even though I fought for my votes. I walked the streets while I was campaigning for Maria. I also was campaigning for myself, and Liz Castillo was doing the same thing. And we got elected through hard work and through actual voter contact, whereas they got assisted in their election through Anthony Rendon. I don't want to take anything away from them. Perhaps they went out. I don't know for sure. Perhaps they went out. But my sense is that he has a giant voter Rolodex, is an old word, of people that he can speak to and garner votes from them. So I have not seen the candidates, and I've been asking for over a week. I know for a fact that he knows who the candidates are. And his excuse to me is, oh, well, he's waiting for all of them to send in their candidate information so he can put it in a nice little folder and hand it to us or give it to us all at once. And I call foul. That's wrong. You know who's running. I don't know who's running. If you know, Rendon knows, and so do Salachi and Zavala and whoever else is on that side of the fence here. And anyway, as an oath and as a constitution, you should be going in fairly to evaluate. And these people are biased, and they are acting in an unconstitutional way. And in my letter, I looked it up. What does it mean? What does that oath mean that I took? I took an oath. What does it mean? Do you know what it means? What does it mean that you're upholding the Constitution? So I don't know, this actually pertains to federal workers, but one purpose of the oath of office is that they do not swear allegiance to a supervisor, an agency, a political appointee, or even to the president. The intent is to protect the public from a government that might fall victim to the political whims and to provide a North Star. The Constitution as a source of direction. So I read the Constitution today, okay, trying to figure out where and how can I make a stand against what I think is corruption. And it starts right here at this very, very bottom level. Other laws have been enacted that support that view. For example, in 1939, Congress passed and President Roosevelt signed the Hatch Act. We call it today, we call it that today, but the actual name of the law is an act to prevent pernicious political activities. In short, we as oath takers are to be accountable to the people, not to politicians. So these people are not acting in accordance with their oath of office. I will not participate in any more sham shows. I'm sick and tired of it. The AQMD is a sham show. Everywhere I go, the water board is a sham show. Over here, they have taken away our vote for the water board, saying that it's over 4 districts. Well, that's boo-hooey, because we could vote on our region. The water district is broken into 5 regions. We could vote on our region, and I think that's politically motivated, because over here we're fighting tooth and nail about SB 625. I am so livid and so mad. I cannot express to you my anger.
You raise a number of good and interesting points. Just to follow up on your last point there, though, about the water board issue, I do know that in the LACDP bylaws, it does say that, and I've seen it for a while now, it's not a new provision in the bylaws, that I believe, yeah, if it's more than 3 or 4 voting districts or AD districts, that it then gets kicked up to the
So Paul, that's never been done before here. I voted for Harold Williams on the water board in the West Basin Water District when over in AD 64. Here, Leticia Velasquez, who is on the water board right now, has for 12 years sat on the on LACDP, and every time she's voted for water board, they've had the water board candidates come in front of them. Same for the college board. We are the elected representatives of RAD. They have no business giving it to that larger council. We can have 2 regions voting. There's other ways of doing it, but giving it to them, and anyway, here the central water basin is broken into regions. So we could, vote for the representative that's for our region.
Okay. So you're saying that in years past, what you're saying is that water board was either split into district regions or was voted on in a like a big, massive 3 or 4 AD.
Well, you do a region. You can do regional endorsements. Yeah, they'll call in 3 They'll call in 3 ADs to a meeting for a school board that may go across 3 districts. Same with that college board. They can call in 3 ADs or a region, which is 4 ADs.
The interesting thing, though, about the LA Community College Board is that those are voted on county-wide or district-wide. It's almost county-wide. It's not really all county-wide, but it's a vast, I don't know how many ADs that would be, probably, 15, 20 or more.
Like here we have Compton College.
Oh, okay. Now, so you're talking about the local community college in Compton?
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you're saying that in years past, that used to be considered at the local AD level or with joint AD meetings, and now it's been
that's not a super county-wide thing. No.
Right.
The local Cerritos College, that's more local also.
So you're saying that those used to be, because you've been on this board for 4 years, that those used to be considered in local AD or joint regional committee meetings not kicked
Yeah,
out? to the
I've been
candidate?
on been in regional meetings.
Okay.
Where like for water board.
Okay. Well, and then the other point that you raised, I was reading an article in the LA Times yesterday by Erwin Chemerinsky. I forget, pardon me on the pronunciation, the former dean of the UC Irvine Law School. He was commenting about the hat check. He wrote an article about it, about how Trump and the Republicans have been violating it this week. And one of the interesting things, I had thought it really just applied to the federal property, but he certainly seemed to be saying actually that federal employees, period, can't involve themselves in politics. Now, I thought that might just apply to being on the job, but he seemed to be writing, if I read it correctly, that they can't, period. However, when I look at federal candidates and their contributions, the donate page, I don't think I've seen federal employee. I've seen federal contractor, right? And that speaks to my question for the local candidates. You know, these government contractors who want to buy access, influence, and contracts. That I guess what they're saying is that you know, you can't, as a federal employee, do politics at all. Now, what we have seen, right, you're speaking to, is at the local level here, oftentimes these staffers for politicians then go and work for the politician, you know, off the clock as a campaign person, as a campaign staffer. So they wear the two hats. It seems that under federal law that's illegal, that they can't do that. And the professor was writing that it was born out of a scandal, I believe, with the Tennessee Valley Authority in '39, in which they were having TVA workers work on local congressional campaigns. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff there. Yeah, we have other hands, though, up. And I should get to those, I think. But if you wanted to have a last word on this, Linda.
Well, I just to that point, I know being a spouse in the military, I know that my husband would never say anything about the president or politics, which drove me crazy. Because he was a federal employee and they weren't allowed to do that, and always felt that he could be in trouble.
Yeah, I knew for military it was different, but I didn't know it was referring to federal civilian employees. It didn't make reference.
Yeah, that's what this article was about. But you know, I wanted to know, what did it mean by taking that oath of office? Well, I'm upholding the Constitution and democracy, and what I see is I do not want to participate in a sham show where I know that those people that are there voting have conflicts of interest. I don't know who the candidates are. I'm not able to make any kind of decision and say, oh, to my constituents, I recommend these people, because I have no legs to stand on, and I'm, you know, I don't want to participate. And I said so. He told me that, that, you know, our bylaws said that it was okay for, I guess for staffers, I didn't get to that part, but I said, you know, that the bylaws are superseded by the Constitution. And he said something about, you know, just go to the meeting and fight Trump. And I replied that, you know, part of the reason why we have Trump is because of this kind of stuff going on. And I will not be attending. But I will attend in order to read my letter and to let the candidates know that they're about to involve themselves in an endorsement process where at least 3 of those people are severely connected, or not severely, but that are very connected to the Speaker of the Assembly. Okay. And I don't feel that they are able to make a decision without this political influence.
Right.
They're not.
Well, yeah, I was fascinated by the professor's article. I think it's Chemerinsky, Erwin. He's now at UC Berkeley Law School, about the Hatch Act and about how they wanted to disentangle the government workers from politics.
Let me just put it this way: if you go into a contest for Kellogg's or some cereal company, right? We used to do cereal company, not that I ever did, but always it would say, the application form would say, do you work for Kellogg's in any way, shape, or form? Even if you delivered Kellogg's to the store, products to the store, you could not participate in that you know, competition, because you somehow have an inside
Right.
right, you know what I'm trying to say.
Right. Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, conflicts of interest, it's a big thing that I think we have to address within LACDP and within our Democratic Party more generally.
So going back to the tools of democracy, if that was open and people in general knew that those seats were open, we wouldn't have the staffers and only the friends of politicians knowing that they are there and open, and that so many of those seats have been in the past before we've been involved. They couldn't fill those seats. Like I told you, Isidore Hall put his aunt, disabled, blind, and deaf, and couldn't walk, as a member of LACDP. And how do I know? Because I almost was a proxy for her, a state proxy. They couldn't find people because people don't know about it. But if we let people know about it, I think that more people would be involved. But they don't want that because that would mean real democracy.
Okay. Yeah.
They couldn't have control.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want people to think you're being ableist by criticizing for someone for being blind or deaf or not able to walk. But I think the point that you're trying to make is that
but she couldn't attend, and I know. Well, and I may have exaggerated a little. You know, don't take me verbatim totally. Man.
Yeah. But yeah, no. I mean, so. Yeah, we have to increase more grassroots involvement here.
That's the point. People knew. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got a few other hands here. Chris Robeson, you've been waiting. Yeah, no, thank you, Linda. Chris Robeson, hand up, take the floor.
Yeah, I had 4 items, but it's been so long, I forgot 3 of them.
Oh, God. Okay, sorry about that, Chris.
Oh, no, it's all right. It's better.
Hey, Chris, come on.
Better for the group. All right, number 1, I have to make a mea culpa statement. And after that, I have a couple of things I want to say about the Hatch Act and about the nature of our club, nature of our county party as a club, a private club, you know.
Okay.
Constitutional law, do you know about? Anyway, so last meeting, I was connecting the dots, and I made an assumption based on past experience with the LA County Democratic Party and its leaders, who in the past directly worked for the speaker. I made a misstatement. I got called out on it privately. I want to publicly do what I did in private. I'm apologizing to Dexter Hurd, and I'm sure he'll get word back some way, that I misspoke when I said that he was directly or tightly or in any way under the control of or under a political relationship with the speaker, Speaker Rendon. So I just want that to go on the record. He and I had a long conversation a week ago Saturday. We spoke for about an hour. He raised issues about why a number of us are raising points of order during the meeting and we're being disruptive. I said, because you turn off our mics. We don't have any voice. We have no real role as delegates to that board, to that committee. And this has got to stop. So that if he wants to stop, he wants us to stop with points of order, points of information, points of, whatever. That's the key. And he has to open up his committee appointments, because everything that we bring up gets referred to a committee that is under the tight control of the conservative element, of the establishment element of the county party. Now, what I was going to say is I'm concerned, we're doing at California Democratic Council, we're doing a membership code of conduct to differentiate it between an employee code of conduct, which is a different animal. We are free will members of these clubs. We are not under pay. So they're different. Now, the things that are nasty and reprehensible, as sexual harassment, bullying, etc., should be included in both codes, but there's a different approach. The problem is that the current code is being weaponized against certain people who are more progressive and are more outspoken, and it's being used to banish us and ban and shut us down. All right, not me personally, but people I know, and that's wrong. Now the problem is with that, and with the one we're dealing with the county, there is no appellate process. There is no way to present your case if you're accused. There are no not guarantees, but there's no access for due process. And, you know, my good friend Linda was talking about constitutional rights. Well, you know, I don't know whether we have constitutional rights. Certainly employees do not have constitutional rights to free speech. Members of the military don't have constitutional rights to free speech. And we are in a private club. Do private clubs, members of private clubs have the right to free speech? In other words, if we had to contest a decision ruled by the leadership that made the decision in the first place, which is the current appellate process in the state party, and I think it's the same in the county, what's our recourse? You go to court, you hire an attorney for $10,000. The judge says, you're a private club, it's a private club. You have no standing with us. So this is a serious issue we need to confront. Not tonight, I just bring it up to seed the thought, because we need to think about how we're going to do this. Now, getting back to the structure of the party, ideally, a third of the party is reserved for grassroots activists who are not employed by or appointed by elected officials, so that we have a seat at the table. But when you bring buses into, and I've physically seen this across the years, into our free elections, the part of that third is supposed to come from two places. The ADEM elections, which are highly packed, all right, by the speaker. Physically, I will accuse him directly, and I won't apologize for this, because he ordered those buses at AD 63. I saw it, I talked to him about it, he denied it then, but he is culpable for it, personally. All right, so that's a problem. All right, and then we have the issue of, that's part of the third. The other third is through the elections that we all went through. We were elected to the party central committees. So if you combine that group with the ADEM, that's the third that's supposed to be free and away from being, you know, obviously there are pleos and people who get appointed at the county committee. I'm talking about the ones who stood for election. That's us. So that's how we're going to take over the party. And, you know, I'd like to take over a third of it first and then try to influence others. Because I don't think we can rely on Deo ex machina of a court or somebody coming in and saying, oh, this is wrong, it's unconstitutional. That's not going to happen. We've got to build on it ourselves. We've got to recruit from the other people who are not in this room and just let them know what we're about. We're not about saying the elected officials shouldn't have a voice or a controlling element within the party. They need to bring more chairs to the goddamn table. Oh my God, I might be written up now. I used a bad word.
Yeah, no, not here. I won't write you up for.
Well, there are people here, Paul, who are taking notes.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, I did want to get that off my chest, and I just think it's important we realize that Linda, as frustrated as we may get, there's no other alternative. There's no planet B. There's no Green Party. There's no Peace and Freedom. None of those people have elected positions in the state. California, I think there's one city council member, correct myself. Anyway, we need to change it, and it's a long fight. I'm 75, I've been doing it for 52 years, and I'm going to continue till they create me off. All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah, no, all right. Thank you, Chris, so much for all that you do and have done. So next of the hands up, Linda Perez. Linda, are you there?
Yes, yes. I'm trying to. Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you. I agree so much with Christopher. I'm a newbie, like I think you are, Paul. So
relative. I mean, I was for a year, you know, as I say, associate member, club rep for Field of Burn, but first time being elected.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And I'm here because of my neighbors, right? My people. So I'm very upset about what's going on with this party. And Mark Gonzalez is just a rotten apple that I have never liked, and he knows that because I have confronted him every chance that I have, and he knows that. Now, my complaint here is that the committees are a joke. He says, you know, choose 3 committees. Which ones would you like to participate? That's a joke, because I put 3 of them, and he has his people already chosen for those committees, and some of them are chosen for 2 or 3 committees. What kind of bullshit is that? You know what I'm saying? Why do you ask us? Where do you want to participate? What do you want to do? If he already has his chosen people with 2 or 3 committees for 1 person, that is just, it doesn't work that way, in my opinion. Also, like Christopher also said it, these people bring buses full of people to vote for the people they want. They did that in AB 51 last 2 years, 3 years ago. They brought a bus full of seniors, you know, and it was getting late. And he told the people that were registering the members, he told them, you don't need to ask for their information. You don't need to see their ID. Just let them go, let them go. So that is bullshit again. And I saw a video where he pushed one of the ladies that wanted to get in the gate. He pushed her back. He's an asshole. He shouldn't be in office, period. And well, that besides the point. Yeah, I am very upset about that. And I think I came here with you know, I want to get rid of the bad apples, the trash that we have there. I am very upset also because I ran for AD 43, like in 2015, and I won. Then for re-election, Laura Friedman had her own group of people, and she used her power to email everybody in AD 43, all the constituents. And she said, I like these people, they're really good. I highly endorse them, and they won. So the people that run, you know, for an elected official, they have it easy. They are elected because the elected official recommends them, and that's not a way to go. That is so wrong, so fishy, it's so frustrating, you know, because people like us are running to help our community. But then the elected officials, they should abstain from participating. They should abstain from voting and for putting their own slates to run. And then the rest of us, with the best intentions, are just left out. And that is very, very, I don't know if it is against the law, probably no, but I don't think that's fair. We should do something about it and see, okay, the elected officials are banned from voting or from participating. You know, they have no right to be there. Oops, hold on. I lost you guys. Okay.
We can still hear you.
Thank you. So, so you know how I feel, because you know what's going on. I'm new, and I have been watching this. And every time I go to the UTLA building for a meeting, I just end up leaving in an hour or two because there's nothing really interesting going there. It's just listening to those people talking and having their own show, just like Trump last night. Yeah. So one question that I would like to ask Paul, if you would add it to your list of questions to the candidates. It's, do you take money from charter schools, from the Charters Association? Because this is how I put it. Are you seeking support and endorsement from the Charters Association, CCSA? That is very important because charter schools are trying to invade our public education and have charter schools in each, school, and they take away money and classrooms from the schools that they want to go to, and they're not accountable at all. They're not accountable for anything that they spend.
Yeah.
It's just bull.
Yeah.
You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, especially for school board candidates.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they are also giving money for the governor or the mayor. I mean, at the last election, they were putting somebody, Monica Garcia. She's running for the city council. And somebody else was running for mayor. And they are helping the candidates for city council too. Shows my observation.
Monica Garcia has been bankrolled by charter schools for, I think, her political career.
And SEIU too.
What's that?
SEIU, the union.
Yeah.
They have given her a lot of money, and she can manipulate the system there. I can't stand that woman.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the charter schools, they buy their favorite politicians and bankroll them, and
Right.
And so yeah, I fully agree with that question being asked, especially of school board candidates, but really any candidates, because sometimes they're taking care of candidates who have taken care of them after the fact.
Right.
So yeah, I fully agree. That's a local, big local issue. You raised a couple other points that I want to circle back to regarding committees before we end tonight. We've got about 32 minutes to go. Let's go to the next hand first, though. We have Rebecca, who's been waiting patiently, and Brandy, too. Rebecca.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you for waiting.
Yeah. Rebecca.
Thank you. Yeah. I really appreciate the discussion this evening. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate knowing that Drexel Hurd is not reporting directly to Anthony Rendon. That's a relief. In reference to the 1/3 of the representation that's supposed to come from the electeds that Christopher was talking about, 1/3 supposed to come from ADEMS, and then the other 1/3 supposed to come from somewhere else. I want to give a shout out to,
that's state party. So 1/3 is from county committees, 1/3 from ADEM elections, and 1/3 from politicians, basically.
Okay, well, I conflated the LACDP with KDEM, but
no, ADEM is separate. Yeah.
Anyway, I want to give Sarah Roos a shout out to Sarah Roos's article in City Watch. If you have not read it, it is outstanding, incredible. I got a C in, I think it was a C- in statistics. I barely made it out of college, but this Sarah Roos is a statistical genius. I forget her exact title, but anyway.
Yeah, well, Sarah, can you drop that article actually in the chat so people can read it? It is an excellent read if they haven't already. Sarah Roos, if you could be kind enough to copy and paste the link for your article into the chat so people can have it, that would be wonderful.
And,
sorry for interrupting you, Rebecca. Yeah.
No, that's all right. So yes, it came out in City Watch, and it's just really outstanding. I'm not saying I understand the statistics, but it comes out in our favor. So in the favor of those of us who were elected and our alternates and our associate members from our groups, DEM groups, who are being left out in the cold on committee assignments. I think using the media, using our voice in these AD nomination meetings, 8045. I wish Chris Manabi, who was there last night, would maybe chime in on the way that we fought against not being given the questions and the information on the candidates. Fortunately, there were 7 of us out of our AD, so we had persuasive power, and they caved. And they gave us the information on the candidates, and they gave us the information on the questions, and we forced our way in to asking the questions we wanted to ask. And so it was a more fair process. I'm new, I don't know how things work, but there are people around who are a lot more savvy and who made this happen. So I leave it with that. Well, the one last thing, I'm really only here because I'm lonely. So.
Well, hey, that's why I say, if you don't have anything better to do on a Friday night amid COVID.
Anyway, I miss seeing all you guys' faces that are behind your things, but I wish I could see your faces. That'd make me less lonely. But anyway, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Glad to see everybody.
Yeah.
Can I just speak real quick because she mentioned my name?
Okay, go Chris.
Yeah, Chris. Yeah, Manabe.
Sorry. So there was a little bit of a dispute trying to get all the questions and everything, and it's basically from our AD chair, Cecile. But I think it definitely helped having Rebecca's alternate, my wife Jessie, as the AD vice chair, because we were able to see she had access to all the questions and everything, and she could inform everyone. She was able to inform everyone that Cecile should have been able to give everyone the questions. So we pursued that, and we were able to get all the questions ahead of time and ask our own questions as well.
When you say get all the questions, you mean the candidate questionnaires or the questions that were asked of the candidates?
Actually, it's both, right, Rebecca? It was both, I believe.
I don't remember. I gave the job to Jessica, so I sort of bowed out.
But you were able to, each of you independently ask a question of the candidates, is what you're saying?
That's correct. And as well we were able to submit our own questions. And we asked, each of us did a round robin and asked our questions.
Okay, so yeah, each person got at least one live question asked, you're saying?
That's correct.
Okay.
But
so,
we
yeah.
outnumbered the seasoned people. We have a body of 7 in our district,
okay,
including our alternates and our associate, Chris.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Was that all you wanted to say for now, Rebecca? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's go to Gabriel Ramirez. Gabriel.
Actually, it's
Are you there?
yes. Actually, I prefer what's her name, Brandy, to go. I believe she had her hand first before me. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. I intentionally took my hand down and put it so that you go first because I've already spoken a couple times.
No, it's okay. You can speak. Go for it. I can wait.
Oh, okay. So I'll try to go through these fast. So in terms of the Hatch Act, I put a link a million years ago in the chat that's to the FDA website that specifically outlines what their employees are and are not allowed to do. And for the most part, if you are a federal employee, you can't seek public office for partisan elections or use your official title or authority to engage in activity. You can't solicit or receive contributions from and for candidates or groups or engage in activity on duty. But there are, you can do whatever you want basically off duty otherwise. There are a handful of categories of federal employees who are restricted from doing basically anything off duty except making contributions and voting and like posting Facebook, that kind of thing. Personally, I think anything that restricts too much what somebody can personally engage in the political movement is a violation of free speech, so they have to be careful about that. But that's what the Hatch Act is laid out for federal employees. As was mentioned, electeds making endorsements of whether they're delegates or other candidates, especially for the first timers and the newcomers, know that gaining and garnishing endorsements from people is a game, straight up. And you could be best buddies with people and that doesn't matter. You could be the best fit for a position and that doesn't necessarily matter. I have been told by people when running for positions that they thought I was the best candidate, but because a certain powerful group had already endorsed someone else for reasons beyond my capability, they couldn't endorse me because they couldn't risk going up against the power of this group, which sometimes has to do with things that have nothing to do with you, like diversity balance or positional balance. Maybe this person was a vet, maybe this person was a teacher, maybe this person was whatever. So it might not have anything to do with you or the candidate. Also, when we talk about how we might have the code of conduct weaponized against us, something we could do to shield ourselves is to be careful in our wording. So for example, with the issue of Rendon and busing, if you state publicly and straightforwardly that you think that you accuse him of busing people and you believe that that manipulates the vote, that's not something that is considered harassment. But if you say he's a manipulator or accuse him of doing something unethical, you say he is unethical. It's the difference between calling someone a liar and saying that you believe what they just said is a lie. Calling somebody a liar is considered harassment because it's name calling. Saying that they are lying or not telling the truth is considered calling out a fact. So that's the way we can get around any concerns, is by shielding ourselves in our language. Charter donations brought up. Just be aware that in multiple cases, we have seen that charter schools will, without even interviewing certain candidates, if two candidates are up for a school board position and one of them is endorsed by the teachers union, the charters will automatically donate money to their own independent expenditures to fund the non-teacher union supported candidate, even if that person hates charters. They don't necessarily know that. They're just going for whoever is not union backed. So that can be difficult when we ask, are you being backed by charters? They might be and not even know it and not have any control over it. And then the last one. So I love what we had in the chat, and Paul has talked about this before. What questions are asked about corporate money and PACs, and I wanted to bring up a situation that I know is very fresh right now. The last question here was about police unions, and I love that you ask why or why not would you take money from them, because asking that's important. And I will tell you, I was seeking and very close to getting an endorsement from the police union despite being a defund the police type of person. And the reason is that I was very much in support of state funding or local funding for childcare, free childcare for police officers. So I was taking my progressive beliefs that things like childcare is a service that should be provided for free to all public servants, and standing on that as a main tenet of how we should be treating the police, as well as removing what I felt was burdensome statements burdensome positions, such as forcing them to deal with the homeless situation that they have no training on, or the fact that I'll very quickly tell you this horror story. A couple of years ago, my son, who is autistic, was put into the PALS program, the special needs preschool program for LAUSD, which was great for him. But when I brought him there, I had to ask them if he does something that's considered unsafe, which he does a lot. His behaviors can be unsafe and dangerous for himself and others. Does anyone on campus know how to practice safe restraint? And I was told point blank, no, nobody will do safe restraint. If it becomes that type of issue, we will call the cops on my 3-year-old. So I think that's exactly the kind of thing that police should not be doing. They're not trained in child care. They're not trained in disability support. And my stance was that police should not have to do those kind of things, and we should be removing that so they can focus on things they want to focus on and they know they are trained for. Those are positions they all supported 100%, and that was why I was very close to getting their endorsement. So just because the police unions or any organization, excuse me, sorry, any organization supports a candidate doesn't necessarily mean that candidate supports things that we might think of as toxic or bad. So it's always good to not just ask, do you accept any contributions, but why? And what are you talking about with these groups? All right, that's my million rants. Thanks, guys.
Okay, no, thank you. Yeah, no, that was all good, as usual, Brandy. Thank you for sharing with all of us. Yeah, next hand up I see is Melissa's now. Melissa Michelson.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I really liked hearing what Brandy was saying, and I forgot what I was. No, actually not. But I want to. It doesn't segue at all, so I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'm actually concerned about certain candidates that are coming to our my particular endorsement meetings. I mean, one, the El Monte mayor. The mayor of El Monte and another city councilman of El Monte. I've seen personally serious, egregious behavior from them. I've heard of them. I'm really, really concerned about those types of candidates getting endorsed by the LA County Democratic Party. So, and likewise, one in my city named Jeff Maloney running for city council. And he was the one that was, voted multiple times to chop down those 265 trees. And he calls himself an environmental attorney, whatever that is. So anyway, my concern or question, I'll throw it out there, is, I mean, at my endorsement meeting, when do I get to share this? I mean, I feel like the people that are voting for these people need to know what I know. Then they can decide if they're going to vote accordingly, and maybe the candidate wants to talk about it, and I just don't feel like there's a space for me to bring this up or ask questions to the candidate that would particularly apply to that candidate. So, no one's asked if we know these candidates at all. There's no kind of discussion amongst ourselves about what we know with local candidates in my area. Another one is, well, Jeff Maloney, who is, it's kind of complicated, but it seems like a Congresswoman, Judy Chu, the one is going to endorse him or is planning to. So then some of our compadres or cohort in our delegation, they don't want to piss Judy Chu off and not endorse Maloney. So I mean, it's just, I guess that's just politics, but I guess my point is, it just doesn't seem like there's a space for me to get that information to my fellow delegates in my region. I have Jenny Chang sent, she's our secretary for our region, and she sent a Google group to us, and I thought that's perfect. We could communicate with each other, and that's the way we could do it. So I sent her an email back to everybody saying hi, and then she wrote back, no, that's not for everybody in our delegation. It's just for her purposes and her obedient, what I forgot what his position is, or I guess the chair, regional chair.
Regional vice chair.
Yeah. Oh, right, regional vice chair. So anyway, it was more for them to communicate with us, or I forget what it was, but it wasn't what I thought. So anyway, yet another thing to the bucket list.
I think, though, Melissa, if anybody more experienced can speak to this, I believe, though, before the vote, right, and I have to check the bylaws again, I believe this portion of the meeting can be public or should be public, where there's discussion and then the vote, right? So it would be, I think, during the discussion where you could raise issues that weren't raised maybe during the Q&A period that may or may not have been raised on the questionnaire either, as to why or why not you feel other members of the AD delegation should or should not vote for a given candidate. And certainly I would say this is another reason, though, why the LACDP internal member directory should be made available. That you can certainly, right, we can all email, call, text our fellow AD delegation members and say, look, at this, look at that. Here are my thoughts, my views on this candidate, and I ask for you to support or to oppose this candidate, right? I mean, that's just the democratic process. So I think that's what I'd say to that, unless somebody else has some more insight or experience regarding that issue. I see a hand up here from Gabriel Ramirez, has been waiting. Melissa, was that your hand still up? Did you want to say something? Or did you?
No, I'm done. I'm done.
Okay.
Thanks.
So Gabe, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
So yes, I want to piggyback to Melissa was saying. I do live in the city of El Monte, and I am very uncomfortable. I've been a victim of silence, intimidation, and I cannot speak on illegal issues right now since I'm in on legal. What I'm very uncomfortable is that we have these panels that are going to be interviewing, and I'm not going to mention names, but there are some that are very allies and strong friendships with the mayor of El Monte and the council member, the incumbent, who is very also have serious allegations. I mean, I'll just leave it at that. So I'm very, very uncomfortable with these questions that they were as the AD 49, and to be honest with you, I will echo as well. I feel not threatened, but I feel more to the of a sense of bullying with legal. That's one. But the other question I wanted to ask, and it's in regards to that. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be conflict of interest if me, someone who is running for office who did not apply for that, can be on that board panel, and that is something where I haven't disclosed it yet with them, but that's one. Secondly, you mentioned about the corporations, and so I want to echo something about it. So in case people don't think that I'm just against it, which I'm not, is the cannabis. There is a companies that are, these are the big corporation cannabis companies that are either in process of a contract with the city already. And the problem is they've been donating to my opponents and I have information. That is something that you can add on to that because again, you have these big corporations of the cannabis also, which is the municipal cultivation companies that are coming in as well. So that is something that needs to be really talked to into those endorsements when it comes to those, if you receive money from those special interests. And that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you raised a number of good points there, Gabe, and some things I mean, there's so much that we could talk about tonight. I did want to give you all time to talk, and we've covered a number of things. We have 11 minutes left here until 9 o'clock. There's a number of things I could bring up. Was there something else though to bring up before we run out of time here? I don't see any hands raised right now. Looking at the chat here. So one of the things that I wanted us to talk about tonight a little bit more was the issue of sexual harassment and the code of conduct. So my reading of the code of conduct, again, I'm not a lawyer, we discussed this last week, but is that it really applies to harassment and discrimination based on protected categories. It keeps repeating that language over and over in the document. Now, what's interesting, let me see if I can share the screen here. There is, and this gets back to the issue of committee meetings. There is a committee meeting on September. I don't want to misspeak here. Let me bring it up. Yeah, okay. I'm going to share the screen here. Let's see here. Share screen. Okay. Desktop. We're going to go over here. Share. Okay. So one of the things is that, LACDP is putting out a lot of emails about, volunteering on the presidential campaign and other campaigns and all kinds of different announcements. But one of the things they don't do is announce committee meetings. And the new code of conduct was adopted at a committee meeting on August 1st that I don't believe any of us were apprised of in a mass email. And I saw this, I just happened to stumble across this on the website. So September 2nd, this upcoming Wednesday, for the Rules and Legal Committee, okay? As we discussed last week, or 2 weeks ago, last Friday Night Forum, Mark Gonzalez has kept these committees very small and packed with people who voted for him. 99.9% of all the members voted for him. And some people are on 2, 3, 4, 5 committees. Well, this Rules and Legal Committee, again, small committee of like 10 people, they are meeting on Wednesday, September 2nd, it says on the website, and they are going to be taking final testimony on the Code of Conduct enforcement language. Final testimony. I didn't know when the original testimony was taken. Were we asked for our testimony? Virtual meetings language, final testimony. Again, when were we asked for our first testimony? And then they have discussed work plan and next meeting date. So I would encourage you, if you'd like to give testimony or observe, I don't know exactly how they run things. We don't know how they run things, and that is part of the problem, as I see it, of lack of openness, transparency, and accountability within LACDP that I hope these Friday night forums will do their part to change and promote openness, transparency, and accountability here and there and everywhere related to LACDP. So you're welcome to go, I guess.
Thank you, Paul. Wow, what a find.
Yeah, so that's coming up. And so,
I was already planning to go.
Okay, there also was a ballot measures committee meeting on August 22nd. Did you know that? I didn't know that. And we had that discussion, right, about Prop 24, I believe it's numbered, the one that is very problematic when it comes to data privacy, and that several prominent privacy groups, ACLU, I guess, and others have come out against. And so, these are the committee meetings aren't being, I don't think well advertised. They are being put up now on the website, but we're certainly not getting email announcements, to come on down if you want to attend this meeting. We are all members, even if we are not members of a given standing committee, and we are entitled to attend these standing committee meetings and perhaps, I guess, maybe give testimony at them. A little unclear. But yeah, certainly we can at least observe them and know what's going on. And I think that would be good for LACDP to start advertising better. What else? On the subject of sexual harassment, we got just 6 minutes left. I'll say it if others haven't. Gabriel, if you want to, put up the video. Irma Zamorano, former Mountain View School Board member, has now gone public with a pretty detailed sexual harassment claim against Jerry Velasco, incumbent Almonte City Council member. And it's, obviously disturbing. In my reading, right, of the Code of Conduct, in my reading of the anti-harassment policy, it basically discusses protected categories, and it also discusses sexual harassment. And just for background, right, again, these were born out of the scandal of Eric Baumann, the former LACDP chair, who has been accused of numerous people of sexual harassment and or sexual assault. And bizarrely, in my view, any members of LACDP who follow this man on Facebook, like his posts, his new podcast, He resigned to disgrace as chair of the California Democratic Party. He was not forced to resign from LACDP. It's unbelievable to me, really. I guess they disbelieve all of the people who have come forward against Eric Bauman, and I guess they think he's a wonderful guy. And what's disturbing to me and many others is that, the people that have been loyal to him all this time still occupy many of the prominent seats of power, as it were, within LACDP. So again, talk about accountability. I think there needs to be a heck of a lot more accountability regarding sexual harassment in the party and Eric Bauman, even though he is now no longer an LACDP member, because he was termed out, right, as of the swearing in. He no longer had his ex officio status as the immediate past chair of LACDP. But, that is what we want to eliminate, right? That's the kind of harassment that we really want to eliminate, sexual harassment. And let me check the email if I've gotten a response back yet. I have not. So we just got 3 minutes to go left, but I emailed Nichelle Henderson. Some of you may have gotten the email from Nichelle Henderson. I got another one today from Mark Ridley Thomas. So I assume he's bought the list or been given the list because he's an endorsed candidate, I guess. But Nichelle Henderson emailed us seeking our support, and I replied back to her. Oh, wait, here, stop share. Okay, let me go back to try to find that email. Just a sec here, folks. Let's go to, where are we here? I want to go over to, Ms. Henderson has not gotten back to me, but I have some questions for her and regarding all of this stuff, including sexual harassment. Let me bring this up. Let's see here, on screen. Okay, let me go back to, let's go back to share screen. Okay, share. Okay, so I want to highlight one of the things, speaking of sexual harassment. Again, publicly in the press now, Yasmin Farada, former Whittier City Council candidate, has publicly accused an LACDP member, who's the current board of the Rio Hondo College Board of Trustees, Oscar Valladares, of sexual harassment. He's denying the allegation or allegations, but she is sticking by her story. And Ms. Henderson is promoting still on her website, as of last I checked some hours ago, her endorsement by Oscar Valladares. I would think that just out of pure political expediency that she would want to not do that. But she is still, I guess, sticking by her man, as it were, Oscar Valladares, and his endorsement of her. She's running for LA Community College, district trustee. And I think sexual harassment is something that students care about, that faculty and staff care about, and that we as Democrats are supposed to care about.
Paul,
yeah.
just so you know, oftentimes updating your website is the last thing you think about. So it may just simply be that they haven't gotten around to that.
Okay, yeah, that's possible. I still haven't heard from Ms. Henderson. I've sent her a follow-up email, invited her to come tonight to discuss this issue, and how she got the list, right? We discussed this at length at our last Friday night forum. How did she get the list? I asked her if she got it by paying for it, or through donation, or through PDI, or some other means, because we still have not gotten a response from Mark Gonzalez as to how he got the information. He made two different claims at the July 11 organizational meeting. The first claim was that he just obtained it from the county registrar. The second claim was that he bought it. He's been asked repeatedly for receipts of that purchase and has not provided them. And so far, Nichelle Henderson is not doing so either. So I don't know how either of them got the list, because the internal LACDP list has not been made public yet, even though we provided our opt-in responses to that. And then, of course, I was asking her about the campaign financing because on her page, it lists 3 different categories for donors: individuals, couples, and companies. And since apparently she's taking money from companies, I wanted to ask which ones. So, you know, we'll be considering her among other candidates on September 8th at the general meeting on the floor, and I hope she'll respond by then. You know, yeah, there's a lot to discuss. It is now 9:01 already, though. Let me stop this share. What else? I don't see another hand up that we didn't get to tonight. 8051 deadlock has been resolved. I was hoping someone from there might be able to come and just shed some light on it, but just I don't see anybody there. Well, Linda's here, but are you in 8051, Linda? No, you're in 8043. The deadlock was resolved by compromise candidates that then got unanimous support. It was a fascinating story where it was, I think, 10-10. The politicians and their alternates were all aligned with one slate, and basically the grassroots with another slate, and they kept deadlocking with their 2 respective chair and vice chair candidates. So finally, Frankie Carrillo is the new 8051 chair, and Janine Ron is the new 8051 vice chair, voted in unanimously by all. So that is now over. But it did raise an issue that I do think we need to change in the bylaws. They discovered a loophole in the bylaws which allows ex officio members to appoint their alternate as someone who does not live in the assembly district. And there was 1 or 2 examples of that in 8051 where an alternate voted and the alternate did not live in 8051 for an ex officio member. Right? In every other regard, your alternate has to live in the district, right? But
Yeah.
for ex officio members, I guess there's a loophole in the bylaws that needs to be tied up that says you can name anybody, I guess, that lives in LA County to be your alternate. And so if you're voting for 8051 or any AD chair or vice chair, I think you got to be from the assembly district. So that's a loophole that was perhaps discovered because of this deadlock that thankfully has now been resolved. Gary Shea, I did see in our Facebook group, said that he's glad it was resolved because otherwise it would have been kicked up to the policy committee for them to decide. So yeah, it's good to settle these things at the local level. And I'm not sure, you know, the authority under which the policy committee would have been acting. I'd have to check the bylaws on that. But anyway, at least that's resolved. So we got that out of the way. We've discussed committee assignments, the code of conduct. We've touched on it, you know, in more than a few discussions tonight. The virtual meetings language, again, just quickly on that. We're going to see on that September 2nd meeting, I guess, more about that. Again, I guess these things were adopted as final, but now they're not final, and now final testimony has been being taken. You know, it's a little confusing here, folks. But the key, right, is in Robert's Rules of Order that these virtual meetings, here I'm holding up my copy of it, are supposed to allow for simultaneous oral communication. And the problem has been that they've been force muting people, right, and not answering them always. And so, you know, they're violating, I think, Robert's rules, their own bylaws. There's a thing in the bylaws that says you can, the chair of the meeting can mute people. Well, yes, but they shouldn't be allowed to mute everyone in a force mute fashion and allow and disallow people from unmuting themselves. So, you know, that's a virtual meeting issue that I think needs to be addressed. This code of conduct enforcement language, I do not know what they're referring to. So again, another reason for folks to attend the September 2nd meeting. Yeah, the issue of sexual harassment, you know, is a big one, you know, and a bad one. The August 11th meeting, we there is, I want to mention one thing, or a few things. The disclosure, right, of corporate money, right? The point with the corporate money is that businesses are not people, right? That Mitt Romney was wrong. The corporations are not people, that money is not speech, and that people need to always come before profits. The point is that businesses are not people, they're structured for profit. People are structured for tons of other things. And it's people that vote, not businesses. And it should be therefore people that are able to donate and people's organizations that are able to donate, not for-profit businesses. The purpose of business is business, not politics. And so I do not believe that the businesses should have the free speech rights of people, and I do not believe that speech equals money. And I think the majority of Democrats agree with that. Teddy Roosevelt, it was a Republican, right? The progressive movement in the 1800s, it was fighting against the machine politics and against the corporate corruption of politics of their day. And they finally got, state laws and the federal law, shutting out corporate money in federal elections, at least. Roosevelt wanted it in everything. But just to be a reminder, right? Federal law says a corporation cannot give directly to a candidate. Yeah, the Supreme Court has said you can, through Citizens United, spend unlimited amounts, right? But you cannot spend directly to a candidate if you're a corporation. It's verboten. And yet we allow it here in the state of California. Other states ban it. California allows it. And cities, unless they ban it, allow it. Corporations can buy their favorite candidates. And before he ran for governor, John Cox, as a Republican, when he was still an independent, he ran against Newsom right in 2018. He had proposed an idea I've heard elsewhere too, liking putting like NASCAR drivers on the state legislators, their corporate logos onto their suits, so that the people could always see who's funding them. Of course, it was a joke of an idea, but it's not really, right? The joke is that corporations buy off politicians left and right, and it needs to end, in my view. And again, public opinion polls show that most Democrats agree that corporations should not be buying off our political candidates, especially not Democrats. So when at that August 11th meeting, if you all noticed, I asked Jacob Haik, our new controller, and he wanted to refer me along with Mark Gonzalez just to Cal Access when I asked, are we taking corporate money? The answer, of course, is yes. LACDP is taking corporate money, not a super ton of it, but LACDP is, and I don't think LACDP should. And I think a lot of you agree with me, and I think this is something we need to discuss and change. The other thing I wanted to mention was, Zenaida Huerta raised the issue of sexual harassment at the August 11th meeting. She asked that question, and it's an important issue. She has been, raising the issue of this Oscar Valladares sexual harassment claim, and we as Democrats need to, say no to sexual harassment. What else? Well, from that August 11th meeting, the state delegate status issue I wanted to raise, and I did raise at that meeting. We still are not state delegates, folks. And yet, according to my reading of the state and county bylaws, we should be and should have been already. Those of us who were just elected on March 3rd. And again, the check-in deadline, meeting start time, I saw again previewing the September 8th meeting that Dexter Hurd is also going to do this 4 to 6:45 cutoff. It's unclear to me if some people were let in after 6:45. I know Bobby Jean Anderson came in during the meeting and was saying that she hadn't been able to get in, but I guess she got in. So, are they picking and choosing who they let come in after 6:45? Again, one of the four fundamental rights of membership in any club, according to Robert's Rules of Order, is the right to attend and participate in meetings. And you can't do that if you're locked out at an arbitrary time. And it used to be 7:30. Now it's 6:45. Used to be 7:30 to allow people, latecomers, to come into the meeting. Now it's 6:45. I don't think there should be any cutoff. If we want to be, true to Robert's rules, people should be able to come whenever and check in. And especially if they're going to have an attendance thing where they kick you out if you miss or you're alternate more than 2 meetings out of the 12 general in a year. I think they need to allow for latecomers. So those are some points that I wanted to discuss. We're out of time. We're already at 9:10 and overtime here. I think we should probably leave it there for now. I don't know about having a Friday night forum next week. Maybe. I'll let you know if but I'm leaning against it right now, and maybe having one after the September meeting. I don't know, would it be Friday, September 11th? I believe would be the next, Friday, September 11th. That dark day in our nation's history, in our world history. So let's see about that. But anybody else? I see Brandy with a hand up. Brandy, you have some final thoughts, words, comments, questions?
Man, I don't want to launch us into a big thing. But I do want to bring up Paul and I have often had very friendly debates going around and around about the corporate finance thing, because let me just lay out this consideration, this food for thought. I'm very strongly in favor of net neutrality. And there are tech companies and tech PACs that are strongly supporting candidates who are in favor of net neutrality, and those that are against them. So if I, as a candidate, were to take money from a corporate PAC to fund my campaign because that's an issue that matters to me, so we happen to closely align on that, I don't find that wrong. The problem is, to me, if I were to then say, okay, so they've bought me, so then they come to me with some anti-privacy bill and I rubber stamp it for them, I wouldn't do that. I think that's part of what we have to discern when we're doing these endorsements, is not just say, you shouldn't take money from any of these organizations that we've labeled, which is back to my previous point, but rather say, why are you taking money from these groups, and what are your lines that you're drawing? So I have no problem taking money from people that support me on the things I already agree on. But I'm happy to tell a group that's given me money for a campaign the next time around, that doesn't mean I'm going to rubber stamp whatever you hand me. And if you fund my opponent in retaliation, that's fine. You can do that. So I think we just have to understand the character of the candidates rather than always just look at, did you accept money from this, black and white?
Okay, well, we'll agree to disagree.
I know we will. We should totally have a thing about this someday. It would be like the debate.
No, but these are the things that we have to discuss and debate within LACDP, because I think we do have to get into this issue of money in politics in LACDP. One of them, is we I believe discussed at the Friday Night Forum last week, was the funding of LACDP candidates, right? That it's relatively few LACDP candidates that get financial support from LACDP. Why? And how are those people chosen? Should not all LACDP candidates be financially supported in some form or fashion? In this last March 3rd election, right, I ran for San Gabriel City Council. They didn't give me any money. They didn't put out any mailer, flyer. Traditionally, LACDP has put out a mailer, flyer, right, of the locally endorsed candidates, right? And say, here, we're LACDP, please vote for our locally endorsed candidates. Well, and they also put up, president or whatever, right? The Democrats that have been endorsed by the state, right, party or the national party. But here we're LA County Democratic Party. Here's our mailer. Please vote for these candidates. That didn't go out. Instead, tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars have been spent by LACDP on certain candidates. you know, it's just amazing to me that LACDP has not been, is not supporting all its endorsed candidates, but is choosing favored few, their favored few. That is wrong to me, and I think a lot of other people. And I think it needs to end. So, yeah. What else? Anybody else? We're already 15 minutes over. We started 15 minutes late, but I don't know if that's an excuse for holding you after class. So yeah, I mean, we're down to just 14 people now, but yes, I guess we can wrap it up unless anybody else has some final thoughts or comments or questions before we do so. Feel free to unmute or raise your hand if you do. I don't want to just unilaterally end the meeting. Anybody else have some final thoughts or an announcement or something? It's okay if you do. I don't want to get into a half an hour of announcements of your upcoming events, but if you do want to say something before we go, chime in. I'll leave the floor open right now.
I just want to say thank you very much, Paul.
Okay.
You're doing a great job.
Well, thank you. That's very kind. Linda.
And Linda, you have so much knowledge. I would like to learn from you.
Not really.
Thanks.
Thank you, though. I just
Yes,
thank
she
you.
does.
Paul.
Thank you.
Good conversation. I'd just like to say that we're going to try a live stream and a live Zoom meeting from Paramount Park and from Maywood Park for Maria Estrada's campaign and Elizabeth Castillo's campaign, and talk a little bit about the community and have some of the local city council and school board candidates speak to the community. So if you happen by our live stream, if you could push it on, share it a little. I know it's not in your area or your community, but I guess I would think that the more traffic, the better. And we would like to see, and thank you, Dennis, for volunteering. He's going to do the Zoom for us.
Okay. Yeah. If you want to drop anything like that in the chat, folks, yeah, feel free. If you got links to drop in the chat, feel free there. Thank you for, coming tonight, Linda, and thank you, for speaking and sharing. And I see a hand has gone up. Jacinta Linke, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you were working tonight, right?
I am on call for 4 hours, and I have been called in, and I'm getting ready to go.
Oh, okay.
So
But you wanted to say something or no?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
What I wanted to say was a little bit of what I told you so to you, because I knew that they were going to convene a kangaroo court / committee, and I believe what we're going to see is tone policing.
Well, that's the fear, and yeah, we discussed that at the Friday Night Forum 2 weeks ago. That was our last one. That's the fear, right? Is that they're going to try to engage in that rather than what the language seems to clearly state, which is prohibiting harassment and discrimination based on protected classes of individuals, right? In other words, don't be a racist, sexist, homophobic, person, etc. And then prohibiting sexual harassment, right? That's what really, gave birth to all these things, was the Eric Bauman scandal. We don't want sexual harassment.
But obviously, they never did anything about the Eric Bauman scandal. It was lawsuits and the potential for huge lawsuits that the California Democratic Party took over that. They've never done anything. Like you said, they didn't kick him out of the LA County Democratic Party.
Rusty Hicks has something to do with that. Rusty Hicks.
Oh yeah, just for people who know,
okay,
right?
I gotta go.
Okay, we'll see you, Linda. So yeah, Rusty Hicks, what Linda is speaking to, I believe, is that Rusty Hicks commissioned the report, or the report was commissioned for the California Democratic Party. He initially just didn't want to release it, kept it to himself, but there's been efforts, and now it's in discussions with lawyers to try to release at least some of it publicly. Also, survivors of Eric Bauman, or alleged survivors of Eric Bauman, who have come forward saying that he sexually harassed and or assaulted them, have been trying to become part of that discussion and conversation as to what gets released. But yeah, they've come public, and a number of them want at least some of it to be made public, but they don't want certain, personal details about themselves necessarily to be made public. So thank you for coming, Brandy. I see she's going to put her baby to bed. Sarah Roos, are you there?
I am, but I'm not sure if you can
I see a
hear
hand
me.
up there. What's
Can
that?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
I was just going to suggest that since you're feeling ambivalent about having a meeting next Friday, maybe it'd be an opportunity to do something different, like, for example, a debate on that issue, which we spent quite a bit of time talking about tonight. Basically the role of contributions to candidates and parties and civic life. Maybe we'd have an actual formal debate. Maybe you and Brandy would like to air these things formally. I'd be interested.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I want to make these Friday night forums at least a semi-regular occurrence. It's just weekly. It's a little hard. And the other thing too, Sarah, is I don't want folks to get meeting fatigue, right? We've got a lot of endorsement meetings. We've got the general meetings. We've got that meeting with bylaws thing. That's my fear, is just I don't want to have two meetings. That's why I'm leery of making Friday night forums a weekly event, because I want people to at least sometimes have a free Friday night, and I don't want people to get meeting fatigue, because there's a lot going on. And the other thing too is that we do have important elections. That's why we're having these important endorsement meetings, and a lot of us are trying to spend more time on helping local candidates, right, in their elections ahead of November 3rd. But I hear you, and I do want to continue hosting these, and perhaps a debate night is in order on corporate money and politics. That's something that's near and dear to my heart. And I think the hearts of, a lot of progressives now and historically, is getting business money out of politics.
Well, the point is that would be kind of different from the notion of actually having a meeting with a discussion on what to do and how things are going on. It would be sort of levity break.
Okay. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. What?
Yeah, it would be levity and a break, something different. So yes, they're still all meetings, but all of us are all only on meetings almost all the time. So
it's terrible.
So it could be different. That's all.
I know. I hear you. And thank you again for that awesome article and all that you do and are doing, or have done and are doing. And I see Linda Bass. Let's see, Jacinta, did you lower your hand?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm not. I meant to lower my hand.
Okay, I'm sorry there. And then, so Linda Bassett, are you there? Yep. You had a hand raised?
I'm here.
Okay.
Just two things. One is that for our next meeting, I would like it if we could have a meeting about what our strategies are, what would we like to see done in the meeting, points of order, etc., and how we should go about doing it. What things do we want to accomplish?
Okay.
And how and who's going to do that?
Okay.
So it's a little more coordinated. I think last time you guys did a great job, but I think you could have used help, but I had no idea what was going on.
Okay.
So I don't know how that was planned out, but that's just an idea.
Okay.
And the other thing I wanted to say is that I think that Maria posted her letter in the group. Did you see that?
Okay, but not here. Maria sent me a letter, but okay. and shared it with some other folks, but I don't think it was posted in the chat here tonight.
Okay.
You're not referring to the chat here tonight, are you?
I don't know where she exactly posted it, but I think she posted it somewhere.
Okay.
And I just want to say, to let everyone know, if people didn't know here, that she wrote a letter saying that she's not going to sign that code of conduct agreement because, you know, and she listed a number of incongruencies with the leadership and the way they have conducted themselves. For example, Sergio Carrillo had didn't turn in the voter registration forms, and that's a fact, and that's a crime, and they have not addressed it. And the way they handled Anthony, at the meeting, where they didn't like what she was doing or what she was saying, and they, ended up putting him in jail. and they tried to take him to court. They really were going to do their best, and they all are about gender and not gender and race and ethnicity and all the rest of it. But they didn't think 1 second about who they were attacking or anything. And, the video clearly showed that he was not in the wrong at all. So yeah, there are a lot of incongruencies there. And I think she's courageous and strong at standing up to them, because I didn't do it, but I am thinking of rescinding my signature on that form for the they're using, and then because I've told you before that Shannon Ross, before all of this happened, when I was, the vice president at San Pedro Democratic Club, and she was also on the executive board, accused me of threatening her in a text message. Like I was harassing her, and which we all saw, not Drexel, but Gonzalez do that to, who did he do that to?
Oh, threaten, you're saying, saying that you were harassing me?
Yeah, he said that.
We discussed this last time too, right? So that, that the chair, Mark Gonzalez, accused Jacinta, or said, please stop harassing me. Right. And then after he said that in a text message to her, he proceeded to send her 5 more text messages himself.
Right.
And she didn't respond because he had just accused her of harassing him, and they were just having it wasn't
a conversation.
It was, yeah. I mean, it was back and forth.
So that is so scary, because that happened to me with Shannon Ross also. My breath was taken away by that. I was like so flabbergasted. It was 11 at night, and I'm looking at my phone going, what? Harassing you? What do you mean? And I actually asked her that, what do you mean? How can I harass you? We're having a conversation. It was so bizarre, and that is so bizarre the way they're doing this. That had nothing to do with sexual harassment or protected class. Where do they get the word harassment from, and how does that relate to the code of conduct? I've read that thing 6 times, and I don't see it in there anywhere.
I don't either. And it's interesting because my reading of it is that it doesn't actually address what you could call, non-protected class, right? Or non-sexual harassment. Imagine some LACDP member, like, just repeatedly calling somebody late at night and harassing them and bullying them or just like calling them repeatedly on their home phone number, let's say late at night, And let's say a person were to say, stop doing that to me, and they were to just keep calling, and waking you up or something like that. I'm just giving that as an example. But those are difficult cases, and I think that's why the policy is in my reading of it, very strictly tailored to harassment and discrimination against protected classes of individuals and the subject of sexual harassment, because that's much more clear cut if you're saying racist, sexist, homophobic things, or if you're sexually harassing somebody, or let alone sexually assaulting them. So, because these other things can become problematic, even when they may seem clear to you. If some jerk keeps calling you on your home phone late at night,
but even so, that kind of thing, you can take them to court.
Right. Well, that's the thing, is that there are other mechanisms, I think. But anyway, it's a good discussion. It's something that maybe we'll find out more about on Wednesday, September 2nd, I guess. So we shall see. Anyway, it's 9:30 now, and I don't want to, keep people longer. We're losing folks. I think we'll stop the recording now unless somebody else has something that they want to be heard on the recording. Yeah, I think we're down to our hardcore folks here. So I think I'll stop the recording. Wait, stop live stream. Okay, we thank you all for coming. I should say this at the end again. Thank you all for coming. If you're watching this later on Facebook or YouTube, please feel free to come to the next Friday Night Forum. We'll announce it. It may not be next Friday, but the Friday after, either September 4th or September 11th. Certainly after September 11th, we'll have a lot to talk about after the September 8th general meeting. But thank you all for coming tonight and participating, for being members of LACDP, or for caring about it. And I'm your humble host, Cole Padilla. Thanks for coming. We can continue the discussion informally after this, but let me stop the live stream now. Stop live stream. Okay, and let's see, recording. How do I stop the recording? Okay, and I think I can stop the recording now. The recorded file will be converted to MP4 when this meeting ends. Okay, now how do I stop?
Come on, Paul.
I know, darn it, Dennis. Dennis, you're still here. Do you have to stop the recording, Dennis? I can't.
Dennis.
Where are you, Dennis? Darn it. How do I stop the recording without stopping the meeting?
Good night, Paul. I got to take off.
Yeah. Okay, Todd. Good night, amigo.
Dennis is still on.
Yeah, Dennis is, but how do I? So I stopped the live streaming onto Facebook, but it still says recording. And interesting. Wow. Well, I guess in order to stop the recording, then Dennis knows how to do this. He's done it before. Oh, wait, let's see. No. Statistics. Video. Well, okay, recording. Record video during screen sharing. Share my recording. Choose a separate audio file. Optimize for third-party video editor. Well, okay. I don't know how to stop the recording because I wanted to have just, anybody that wanted to say goodbyes or informal time afterwards. But I guess I'm going to have to shut down the entire meeting to end the recording. So I guess it's good night, y'all, once again. And thank you for coming. And we will be in touch by somehow, some means. Okay. Thank you all. Buenas noches to everyone.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah.
This is Anthony Mercado. I was just going to say, yeah, I think the bi-weekly meeting schedule is, I think that's a good idea instead of weekly.
Yeah, I don't want to wear people out. I mean, it's a lot every other week. But we all have other meetings to attend, and
Sure.
it's a lot. And Friday night, sometimes you just want to sit back and watch a movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right.
Okay.
Thank you, Anthony. And thank you also to Diana Marmeter. I see you here. Jeff Schwartz, thanks for coming. We're the last few here. Margaret Finstrom, thanks for coming. Say hi to Isaac. I think we're just the last few people here. So anyway, muchas gracias, everyone. We will see you soon on Zoom or elsewhere. Not really elsewhere, just on Zoom, I guess. Okay, everyone. Good night.
All right. Good night. See you next time.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right.